where we're going to start talking about different locations. Well, we got some pictures coming up here, and we're going to be talking about sharing at a public location, and specifically, Brother Scott Shepard is coming to share with us about where he teaches. Brother Scott.
Brother Rich Brand was asking me to kind of share some of the things that we take into account when we have the Bible study on Monday nights. For those of you who don't know, I teach every Monday night at Panera Bread on Military Highway. And the point is to have an opportunity to meet people and have a Bible study at the same time. So that's my goal when I'm there. That's my specific goal, is to try to meet other people, engage other people, have them overhear the Bible study. In addition to that, have a place where people can invite their friends to that isn't necessarily at a church building or someone's home where they may feel a little more uncomfortable, but it's a public setting. They feel they can go and come and go as they please. So when you're picking the location, we started in Starbucks because it was only 4 or 5 of us when we first started out, but all of a sudden one day we have 22 people and people are standing around in the Starbucks, and that's not fair to the establishment because you're taking up their space, and so we needed to move to a bigger location. When you're deciding where you're going to pick, how big your group is and how loud you speak are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. Panera is a little bit louder than Starbucks, so I have a pretty loud voice, so that doesn't cause an issue. But if you're a soft-spoken person, the noise level of the location is something you're going to want to take into account. If you have a soft-spoken voice, you're not going to be able to teach at Panera. They got blenders going on all the time and buzzers going off and things like that. So you may want to pick a quieter location like a public library or a local coffee shop or something like that. But when you come in, you want to find the best place in that location. You want people to see you that are looking for you when you come in. So you don't want to be hidden. You want to be able to be in plain sight so they can come right over to your Bible study and not have to go looking around. I have a pretty good rapport with the management there. They know that we're there. We take over a spot that is a bunch of ladies that work with Avon are using the meeting space just before we are. So they leave it set up for us. And when we come in, we have to add some more tables because we have more people than them. But then we always put things back the way we found them. And we try to make the place look at least like it did when we got there, if not better. You want to be courteous to the establishment you're going to. And that includes patronizing it. If you're going to a Starbucks or a Panera and you're not buying anything, that's not fair to the business. You may end up getting yourself kicked out for doing that. And in the long run, it hurts you because if everyone starts doing that, if everyone comes to that establishment and they're not buying anything, that establishment is going to close and you lose the ability to use that establishment along with everybody else. So those are some of the main things you want to think about. For follow-up, when I'm doing this, the suggestion I have, I use Facebook. It's very impersonal. People don't feel like they're giving you their most secret information, and I actually have people who don't come to church here that attend the Bible study on a regular basis that will send me a Facebook email and say, hey, I'm sorry I can't come this week. And I'm like, it's no problem. This is a voluntary thing. Whoever can make it can make it. But they feel the need to communicate and say, hey, I can't come. And so that gives you an opportunity to follow up with any questions they may have in a personal manner, that they can do it in their time and you can do it in your time. As far as any other things that you may want to look out for, you have to be aware that you can be heard by other people, and sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes that can be a bad thing. There's been times where people come in, hear the Bible study and go, I'm sitting down in your Bible study, I want to hear what you got to say. And those people are ready to learn. The last Monday, we were actually outside in Panera, and there was a lady that was in the car that was right next to where we were teaching, and they stayed for an extra 20 minutes in their car to listen to the Bible study. They didn't want to engage anybody, but they were listening. And so you need to be aware of that because you have people listening. The other side of that is, I think a month ago, I'm teaching in the book of Acts, and I'm talking about how Peter is talking about how Jesus had to suffer and he had to die. And I was explaining why this was a stumbling block for the Jews of that time, that they were looking for a conquering king to come in and rescue them and establish an earthly kingdom. And I had some lady come up to me and say, you shouldn't be ragging on the Jews, and if you're going to talk about what the Jews believe, you should have a rabbi here. And I just calmly said, ma'am, I'm not ragging on the Jews. I'm not ragging on the Jews at all. I have no reason to rag on the Jews. There's no reason to rag on anybody. There are good people in every culture, and there are bad people in every culture. And all I'm doing is sharing a bit of history. This is an actual history thing. This happened. It's not an opinion of someone. You can find this in historical accounts. And so she wasn't even a Jew. I guess her friend was a Jew, and she was offended on his behalf. But the guy that was with her just kind of laughed at her. And when it was all over, everyone in the Bible study, including the visitors, go, wow, what was her problem? So, I mean, do be aware that you can be heard. And that is why when you're teaching a study in a public setting, not only do you need to know the information that you're going to be teaching, you need to study in depth on that topic and make sure that you can answer the auxiliary questions that may come to you. Because there are people that may challenge you if you're in a public setting just because they want to see what you know. And so that's something that you need to be aware. And I think that's the basic outline of what you should do when you're at a public setting. Thanks, Pastor.
Thanks, Brother Scott Shepard.